Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your host, Raven here, bringing you some Path of Exile. Really awesome game, free to play. And unlike Neverwinter, it hasn't been ruined by the greed of the pay to win scenario where you can earn everything through grinding or whatever, but it takes you like 3 million years. So they hope that you'll just say, oh, you know what, I want this now, so let's pay such and such money. So anyway, I'm on the battlefront. Pretty awesome enemies. I came here to loot gold, or try to loot some treasures. The battlefront didn't really provide that much in retrospect as I wanted to, but it did provide me with a lot of experience. But anyway, there's a lot of killing, a lot of fighting in this. The action is great. The details on the enemies, it's amazing. They really take their time to show that they're not just clones of former enemies. I mean, yeah, okay, eventually you will see, spiders that are just stronger. Of course, they're about the same size or same design or whatever. But for the most part, each new area has very detailed new enemies. They're not just clones of the new ones. The skill tree is fantastic. It kicks. I mean, it's amazing. You can start off anywhere. Like, you can start out as a warrior, and then you can transition over into an archer. I mean, you can do anything skill point wise. It takes a long time. That's the one thing about it. It is a dungeon crawler, so you're not gonna get everything instantly, but it's fun. It's worth it. It's not like you feel like, oh, it's such a chore getting new powers or new skills or whatever. It's not like that at all. It's like, oh crap, I get to go to a new area. I wonder if I can kill the monsters there. You find like really good powers like that Ignite spell, which I'm using there. That is my most powerful spell. It's so useful. It just kicks so much butt. Fireball spell is my second most powerful spell, actually, as a single shot. And that's pretty effective too, because it travels across the screen and explodes on impact. Ice Wave, I've had that since the beginning. I wonder if that's the closest gem that I have to getting close to level 20, because level 20 is a max for gems. That Ice Nova, it saves your butt. Like, when you're surrounded by guys, it freezes them, it slows their movements, it stops them. It can literally save your life. So you pick your own path. I chose magic. I like playing magic, using magic in RPGs and online games or whatever. I don't know why. Just magic just seems easier. People complain it's harder to figure out, and I guess it is harder to figure out, but it makes the game more fun and makes things easier when you're actually fighting monsters. So we're knocking these soldier guys out. They're part of the Blackguard. I was supposed to kill their captain, which I did off screen. That fight was amazing. That guy was so hard. Like, he didn't kill me. I managed to kill him, but I had to do a lot of running away. Like, it was heavy. I relied heavily on guerrilla tactics, which sometimes you have to in this game. And that's another thing I like about it. It's not like mindless shooting where it's like, once you're stronger than a set of enemies, you can just go through shooting everything. Like, you have to pay attention. You have to switch up your skills, your powers. You have to read the combat situations. Like, is it dudes shooting at me from long range? Are they in close? Is it a lot of them? Is it just one of them? Is it one person that's just really powerful? It keeps you on your toes. You're not just like mindlessly like drudging through scenes, stepping on stuff, looking for stuff or fighting stuff endlessly. I mean, there is some busy work. No game is perfect. I do wish the loot drops were a little bit more generous. What I really would like to see is items that have that increase the percentage of rare item drops have better defensive stats. It's like you'll say, okay, you'll get 14% increased chance of finding rare items, but it doesn't give you any health, any mana. It doesn't give you any mana recovery, health recovery. It doesn't make your spell strong. It doesn't do anything. It's only good for looking for loot. So it kind of splits it into where you have to have some gear for just like straight ass kicking, just fighting, and you have to have some more gear just for another set of gear just for looting or whatever. But anyway, back to the action. As you can see, that Ice Nova just knocking dudes out, and then I like to finish like tough dudes with the fire with the Incinerate spell, because it saves your life too, and it's more satisfying. I need to it would be more dramatic if I'd had the chance to ignite spell linked with it, which I did earlier, but equipped a new pair of boots and I forgot to, and it didn't have those slots linked up, and I haven't been able to change it yet. So I was like, so I have it on. It has an increased critical strike linked with it, but it doesn't have the chance to ignite, which is kind of silly. I wish all fire spells ignited the enemy. I don't understand why the spell itself wouldn't ignite the enemy, but you need a chance to ignite gem to make things to give it, set people on fire on a regular basis. Just want a little bit of inventory work. Quick tip: always have your inventory neat. You're picking up a lot of stuff at once. You do want to stop every now and then to arrange it, because that saves you a lot of time and effort down the line, especially if you're looting only specific items, like you're only looting, purple magic items, or you're only looting rare items. It keeps your inventory from filling up faster, and then you're gonna have to do it anyway, So it's just a little bit of elbow grease in that department will save you a lot of trouble. So we got a portal scroll. The chests, they're dropping out crap, but at least they're dropping something. Without the increase in the chance to find rare items, without an increase in that percentage, like those little mini chests that I just opened, like they'd just be empty. So when they replenish the shrine, these shrines, I would like to talk a moment about these, because they're annoying to me. Like this one is really good. It gives me regeneration for a whole minute. Constantly regenerating my magic and my health. So that's pretty fresh. But a lot of them, they do something like they create an ice wave or an electrical wave, and they're actually enemy. They're actually enemy totems at first. You have to kind of like kill all the enemies around it, and then push through the magical effect. To touch the shrine or whatever, and then you'll receive that effect. But it's like, okay, it gives the enemies a big bonus, but by the time you get it, most of the time you've cleared all the enemies away from it, so you're walking around with it, and it, annoying yourself because it's just constantly going off and not killing any enemies. So a lot of times it seems like they're just more trouble than they're worth. That's what they seem to me. I mean, maybe as I get deeper into the game and higher level, because I just turned level 40 actually in regular play, and I was checking this barrier to make sure that there's no way possible past it, and because I had progressed a quest, and I was trying to check to see if that barrier would go down, but no, it's always there. You have to use the sewers to go around and to progress in the battlefront area. So anyway, those shrines, they don't seem to last long enough. You always get them when you don't need them, and they're always in place to, like, you always have to fight them, annoyingly, when you don't really, it's a hassle. So they're just, in my opinion, they're a lot of trouble. So anyway, all the if you notice, there's a lot of nasty, like, burnt flags on the ground. Actually, those were enemies. Previously, they were living creatures that attacked you, but during quest progression, you get to the point where you kill like the leader of the ribbons, or you do something to it so all the ribbons drop dead. So they're always dead now. It's just the soldiers. So imagine it was more difficult with the soldiers and the ribbons around. But luckily we don't have to go through that. And I like this game. The story is worth paying attention to. They actually put some writing into it. I mean, it's not, a blockbuster novel, where you just want to read every single word that is written, hook, line, and sinker, or listen to every single voiceover. But if you do take the time to glance at the story once in a while, it's pretty good. So anyway, look at these guys, Legion. I love like putting the flame to like a whole bunch of people at once. It's like, there's like a part in the Bible where like this king, he tries to send soldiers to arrest his prophet, and they come up there and they got a rude attitude and they act rude, and they all get set on fire. So he sends another like contingent, and they get set on fire. So the third one, they come up there and they're humble. They're like please don't set us on fire. Like this king, he just wanted you to come talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Don't hurt us, whatever. So the dude's like, all right, so he went over there to talk to him, and that's how I feel when I'm playing Path of Exile, and a bunch of people rush at me, and I use the Incinerate spell against them. And the longer I use it, the bigger the flames get. So now these things, they could do it too. They have their own like enemy version. They're pretty crunk. I like fighting them, and they can kill you if you don't pay attention, as you'll see as a video progresses. So anyway, we made it to the docks. It's rainy and spooky. A lot of these dudes, like they're lit up. Like you see the lit corpses on the ground. You would think immediately lightning, like they are immune to lightning or something, but no. It's just most of the time it's cosmetic. You always have to read, what they're actually strong against or weak against on these enemies. So this guy resists fire. The skeleton dudes, and let's see, also like all the skeletons resist fire. And what does this guy resist? Oh, he does a lot. He gives out extra clothing, but he doesn't resist anything. But you would think that he would do like lightning damage or something. But a lot of his ice, some of his fire. Bam, dropped him. So anyway, I got one rare item, the oil coat and the rugged, whatever piece of armor that was. So it does pay to go through weaker areas with the rarity of items equipped. Bam, a little bit of lightning trap. The lightning trap is the only one I found really, really useful in the long run. I wish I had the lightning spell that did the chain lightning type of effect. I used it before, but it was really weak. I should have stuck with it. But oh well, you live and learn as you play the game. Like what mistakes you're making, what mistakes, what to change or whatever. So you have to think about it. You can't just like slap on a new piece of armor, slap on, some new magic, and keep going. Like you have to think, how this affect my character. Bam, there's a waypoint. Which waypoints are extremely important. Like you just you have no idea how important those things are when you first start the game. When I first started, I was by myself. I just learned through the hard way, through trial and error. And I used to just say, well, I don't really need to find a waypoint. I could just use, the scroll to get to town. And yeah, that works for a little bit, but if you have to, that only works as long as you're playing it. But say like you need to go to bed, or something comes up, you need to go to a grocery store, you need to go to work, or whatever you have to do. Whenever you need to stop playing for any length of time, the portals like get erased. And if you haven't found a waypoint, that means you have to like track. You might have to track through 3 areas to get to a place. To get back to where you were. Sometimes you can use a waypoint that was next to one area that doesn't have a waypoint, but there's always going to be a lot of backtracking involved if you don't uncover that waypoint. The first thing I do when I go into an area is I test my strength against the monsters. Like I fight the first few. I make sure I try to fight all the different types of monsters, at least one type, so I can get just a taste of all the monsters, their strengths, see some of their abilities. That lets me know, can I kill them? Can I progress? Really, how fast should I progress? And the second thing I do is I look for the waypoint. I test my strength. If I'm strong enough to go through the area, then I proceed. If they're too strong for me, then it's like, no, I'll wait. I'll come back later when I'm stronger. But the second thing I always do is look for that waypoint to uncover it. I also had to learn the hard way that you have to actually use the waypoint for it to activate. You can't just find it on your map, step on it, and keep walking. You actually have to use it to go anywhere, just to use the thing. So it's like a first-time activation fee, I guess, on all the waypoints. So anyway, hit and run tactics here. As a mage, it's very helpful for me to do that, to like just put down lightning on people. Put out a totem that distracts them. Which this totem, this rejuvenation totem, it's like one of the best moves I've found. It constantly heals itself and it heals me, itself, and anybody else in my party. And also, like, it distracts enemies and it takes their aggro, and like while they're beating on it, it's healing itself. So that gives me more time to set up spells or read the situation to get a better read on the situation, especially if there's a boss character involved, and then lets me decide what powers I'm going to use next. Which I'm missing the shockwave totem. That's also very useful. Not only does it take aggro, catches attention from enemies, it also damages them and it stuns them at the same time. Sometimes when I'm feeling like kind of lazy, I'll just use the shockwave totem to kill things. Like I just keep letting it smack them. It takes takes a while. I just let it keep running until it kills things while I go do something else. Like when I'm getting kind of lazy at monster fighting. So I like these like ghost pirate type dudes. They're really cool. So far, I haven't encountered an enemy that I just think is just so lame. Like, oh, this enemy sucks. Why'd they create this? Like, it looks so goofy. Like, I haven't seen any goofy enemies, and I like that. You don't want to see any like goofy stuff. The story is really serious. You're actually literally are in exile from whatever depending on what character you picked. You have some backstory, like whoever king or whatever kicked you out the country, or if you're a priest, the evil pope or whatever kicked you out the thing, exiled you out of the church, So they have interesting backstories. As I stated earlier, it pays a glance at the backstory a little bit, and the enemies match that story. Like they spit fire, they spit acid, they drop poison when they die. They throw like Molotov cocktails. If they're zombies, they're all rotten. They explode. They break into like rotten pieces when you kill them. I mean, it's amazing. They put a lot of effort into the enemies, and I love going to new areas. And here we have a Reeve spell. Green runes need a lot of dexterity, which my character doesn't have. But I just found a way to get a lot more. Reading the skill tree is very important. I mean, because it's massive. But there's a way to navigate it, using as few points as possible, but for the biggest gains as possible. And it takes a while. It takes a lot of studying of it, because I'll go one way on the skill tree, and I'll say, wait a minute. I'll look at the skill tree, the whole thing again. I'll study it a little bit, and I'll say, wait a minute. If I just do this, this, and this, I won't have to use so many points, and then I'll have so much, more power or whatever. So, pays attention. That's the one requirement for this game. You have to be a reader. You have to be willing to pay attention to stats. You have to be willing to pay attention to what things say, what the items say, what bonuses they give you, what things they take away from you. Like, you can't just like slap on new stuff, sell stuff. Even now, as I'm identifying some of these items, I'm doing it because I'm trying to earn specific rewards at the seller. Sometimes you can leave it unidentified. You'll get paid, in a certain way, or you'll get a return on the goods in one form. And if you do identify it, you get a different form of goods. So it's up to you to decide what you want to identify, what's worth identifying, and what's worth selling as is. I sell a lot of stuff as is, because it saves me scrolls, it saves me time. Like, there's no decision making. You just sell, clear your inventory, keep going. And I like the size of the docks. At first I was complaining. I was thinking that the docks was a kind of a small area, but I've forgotten about this size. So those glowing skeletons actually do resist fire instead of lightning, even though they're like glowing or whatever. They look really cool. But that's the first thing that comes to your mind when looks like I'm gonna have to go to the portal. Go to the town. Yep, we have to drop off this loot. It's just too much space or whatever. They make the stash system, the looting system, pretty easy. Like, yeah, you have a small inventory. You don't have a pet or anything that can hold, extra goods or materials or whatever. But you do have a gigantic treasure chest for storing loot, like way better than what was in Fate. And it's you could access it fast, and the portals back to town, they last long enough for you to get things done. Like, you should be able to get everything you need done. That's why it's also important to identify items you want to identify before you hit the town. So that way we could just hit up the vendor, bam, bam, bam. Come back to your stash, bam, bam. You know, stack up these orbs. As you can see, I collect the scraps, orbs of augmentation. I collect everything. And those boots, those gloves, which I hate the color of those boots, but just I haven't found a way to change it. The item appearance. And those rings and that necklace, like those are what I really need to be fighting. The rest of the stuff I'm wearing just for the sake of it helps me find rare items. So I'm kind of wearing like crummy armor, crummy stuff, but you know it's helping me get some drops. So anyway, and this isn't really like hardcore play. I want to point that out. Like this is just me collecting loot, going to see if I can make a little bit of money or collect a certain amount of items. It's not like the hardcore like pushing, rolling the dice, pushing your luck, seeing if you can get to the next area, survive the next area or next set of enemies, like gameplay. Like this is an intense one, which I do plan on bringing y'all footage of that because it's amazing. Like when you're fighting for your life, you're almost dead, and like you take off running, and like you leave like a totem or something behind to block shots from the boss, and also distracted while you go heal yourself or something. I mean, when it's tooth and nail, when the boss is almost dead, you're almost dead. I mean, it's so fun. Like all the times I've died while playing Path of Exile so far, I've never been like frustrated at the game, like angry at the game, like oh this game sucks, oh screw this game, it's so terrible, it's so cheap, I got killed because they're so cheap. It's like it's always dang it, there was it was a room packed full of dudes, like powerful dudes, and I walked in there, and they were just too strong. It's like okay, that was my fault, I went in, obviously these guys were really powerful. I shouldn't have just like tried to gung-ho, just rush in there like that. It's always like player fault, like you're not watching your health, because you figure you can kill everything before. And look at that flame thing taking my energy shield away. Yeah, you have to pay attention to your health and energy shield and mana at all times. My mana regeneration rate sucks too, just using the rare item things. Yeah, it's really awesome. There's no like frustrating, and so far for me there hasn't been any like frustrating deaths that you just swear up and down it's the game's fault or whatever. It's always been like, oh dang, I shouldn't have done that. And then you're excited for a rematch. You're like, okay, well that guy killed me, pretty fast. I can't wait to, level up, get, change, get stronger armor, get a little bit of skill points, get some more powerful skills or spells or whatever, and come back and fight him again. Like you love the chance for a rematch, and the bosses don't disappear, which at first I was afraid of. I was like, oh no, I died against this boss and I'm not gonna get a rematch, it's gonna kill me. And look at that, going toe to toe, I had to get out of there. See, you have to pay attention, because like if just small mistakes, even regular enemies can kill you, which had to knock him out long range with the lightning, using the healing totem. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host of Raven. I just wanted to bring y'all some Path of Exile action and let y'all know, that I'll be bringing some more even better videos of this in the future. Hopefully some co-op, too, with my sister, who she likes the game. It's really fun because it's straightforward, it's honest. There's no pay to win bullshit. You just fight enemies, kick bosses' asses, and play. So anyway, get on Steam. Path of Exile is free. You don't need like the most powerful graphics card in the world to play it. So check it out. Highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. Get on Path of Exile. I'll be happy to see you. And have a good day.